Welcome back to Lessons from the Front into beautiful Singapore and to the very first episode of Frontline Choices. Today we head over all the way to Denmark to someone you probably already know, Bo Mortensen. Let's go and meet him. Hi Bo, nice to have you on the channel.
Hey everyone.
Right, so Bo, you're really well known in the international wargaming community, but for those viewers who may not know you, could you tell us a little bit about your wargaming background?
Yeah, hi everyone. The notoriety happened by accident, by the way. I didn't set out to become internet famous or anything, but I have been recognized, which is kind of a weird experience. Like going in a different country, in a different city, and going into a shop, and people said, "You're Bo Mortensen." I was like, "What the hell, dude?" So. That aside, that weird experience aside, I started out gaming in the 1980s, and I was at that time I was in a role-playing group, and we started messing around with miniatures, and then I got into Warhammer, as most of us did during that period. I think there's a lot of people playing that came from Games Workshop background. So I played Games Workshop games for quite a few years. I even did a little tournament play. Famously, I played 40k using the Jetseer Council, which was the most overpowered Death Star unit at that time. And that was my first taste of tournament play. Then I quit Games Workshop games because, like many other people who got into historical gaming, my first love was historical gaming. Like, I collected huge amounts of toy soldiers from different periods of history, and I loved them to bits. And the Games Workshop codex creep that got to me at some point. So I went into Star Wars X-Wing for a period of time, played tournament play in that. I got into Infinity, the game, which is a sci-fi game. I don't know if you guys know that. It was way too complicated for me to play in a tournament setting, but I really loved the game as such. And I didn't really, I couldn't find any tournament games that I wanted to play. I played lots of historical games on the side. Like, I have huge collections. I've sent you a couple of pictures. You can show them if you want to. So I have huge collections of a lot of different periods of historical miniatures, and I use them all regularly. But I didn't really have any tournament games at that point. And then one of my friends, Michael, he had played Flames of War, and he was like, I really like World War II. And I was like, yeah, World War II, that's not my period. I like the colors of medieval stuff and But he got me to play one game of bold action, and I was immediately hooked, like many other people. And like, I saw your interview with Anders, my teammate Anders, and he was like immediately hooked by the dice mechanic. That also immediately got me. I was like, this is awesome. This is like the best part of Infinity, the game, combined with 40k and then historical minis. It's the perfect game for me. So I immediately got into that hard, and that's where I started out. And I guess by now I've been, when I get hate mail, people call me a beardy 40k player that play overpowered combination armies and have little regard for history, which is true. But I'm also a lot more than that. I am also a historical player. I do enjoy history. I'm just, when I go to tournaments, I do one thing. Yes. When I go and play historical games, I do another thing. Yeah. So for me, there's a clear divide in that. And I think in that respect, you can, like, my online personality is a lot of the competitive, high-level competitive content, which is what my channel is all about.
Right. Yeah. So you have the channel, you have the hobby. Which part of bolt action is your favorite aspect of it?
I have to say the interactiveness still of the dice mechanic and the simplicity of the rest of the game. Now, there's a lot, like, I regularly criticize Warlord Games for their rules writing because they're very British in the way they write rules. Right. Sometimes I wish they'd hire a German because the German rules are always... But But it does mean for an enjoyable read when you read the rules, but it also means that we have a lot of rules discussions. But the dice mechanic of pulling an order dice is still my absolute favorite thing about the game.
Yeah.
Hands down. Also, I've criticized quite a lot of things about V3. For me, I really enjoyed parts of V2 where I thought there was a better balance between shooting and close combat, which I know is not realistic for World War II at all. Close combat was not really a thing, but it made for a better game for me. And but I have to say this, V3 has really opened up what it is you can play. So I encounter now a lot of different army types and different styles of building your army, which is really, really enjoyable.
On that note, if someone were to look at your bolt action collection, which army do you think would associate with you most? Which faction, perhaps?
Right. So there would be two, and it would depend on what they're looking at. So if they were looking at how finished, how well made, how beautifully painted, how well thought out the army was, then they would clearly say, well, Bo, he plays this weird, wacky Ukrainian UPA partisans Axis army because I built a what-if army for what if Hitler had supported the Ukrainians instead of just dismissing them and imprisoning them. And I play that as either a German army or a partisan army, something, right? I spend a lot of time painting that. It's like my most beautifully painted army, and I sent you a picture of that as well. I have like beautifully painted Cossacks for that army. I've got a lot of different kits that I've kit bashed. I love kit bashing. But if they look how much I have, then they would just clearly say, Bo Mortensen, he's a British player. Like the amount of armor, of British armor that I have is insane. And I have so many different pieces of armor, and I've played most of them actually in different types of games. There are like I have what was it, the Mark I, the World War I tank. I've yet to use that in a game. I have one, but I haven't used it in a game yet. Famously, all through V2, I used my LVT, which is, again, people can say I'm not a historical player because it's painted like it's in the desert. So everything is painted 8th Army style, right, because I wanted everything to be cohesive. But I have vehicles for every period and use them all. So yeah,
that's lovely. So Bo, are you ready to play in today's fun game?
Bring it.
All right, so for the audience, for the viewers, the rules are quite simple. I'll show you 2 Bolt Action version 3 units. You need to choose one. There are no depends on the army or depends on this. There's no fence sitting. You need to choose one and then briefly defend your choice. Is that okay?
Let's go.
All right, let's begin then. So first choice is bazooka versus anti-tank rifle.
Bazooka, anti-tank rifle. Anti-tank rifle all the time. I'll choose the anti-tank rifle. Every single time. Why? Because the bazooka is so much more expensive. And it's still just 2 men, very easily killable. Even if I buy a veteran, it's very easy to kill. So the anti-tank rifle will pin an enemy armor piece, and that is enough for me. And it's so much cheaper. I can buy like 2 or 3 for the price of 1 bazooka. Definitely the anti-tank rifle.
All right, thank you. Right, choice number 2. Panzer III versus Stuart.
Oh, Panzer III?
Why?
And I say this against knowing better. Right, okay, so the Panzer III, you can take the medium anti-tank gun, which makes it a very versatile vehicle. It still has a lot of machine guns, a lot more than the Stuart, and can't take recce on the Stuart. I know, and you can't take recce on the Panzer III. It doesn't matter. You're never using that recce because recce is for cowards. choose a 3 because you can both hunt enemy armor with the medium anti-tank gun and enemy infantry. Yeah, that's my choice.
Very good. I'd love to hear what the viewers have to say on that one. All right, next one. Are you ready? All right.
Yep, go.
So forward artillery observer, forward air observer.
Artillery observer. I'll take the artillery observer. This was a bad choice. None of them are good anymore. There's too much flack for the air observer, and you need to be able to see the target you're pointing at, which is why, because you can take the artillery observer without seeing any enemy units, that means you can survive better, and you can still fire your artillery bombardment, deliver a lot of pins, whatnot. And in V3, typically the games have gotten bigger, right? There's a lot more units on the table than there was in V2. So even though most artillery observers now only have one shot, which is totally enough, totally fair, no problem with that. But it does mean that there's a lot more targets. Typically, they're more clumped up. So yeah, artillery observer.
Point well taken. All right, number 4. Heavy autocannon versus anti-tank gun.
Heavy autocannon. No questions asked. Especially if we're talking artillery platoons. The heavy autocannon, because it has 2 shots. Yeah, I know that the AT gun has the ability of shooting at a +3. But if we have movable weapons, then most of the time 2 shots are way better than 1 shot. So for me, I famously, if people look back on my channel at my lists, they will feature a lot of autocannons, a lot of them maneuverable. And what I'm seeing right now in the meta, the big evil meta, is that a lot of people are bringing, if they're talking artillery platoons, they're not bringing anti-tank guns, they're bringing autocannons, again, because they have 2 shots and they can fire at infantry targets as well. So, yeah,
Great.
Way more versatile and still pretty likely to do some hits.
Thank you. All right, last one. I've been following you on your channel. So this one touches home maybe a little more. So considering the upcoming lists, would you go Gurkha squad or Japanese para squad?
Japanese paras every single time. Yes. They will win against the Gurkha squad. Now, we know the rules for Aigu Kali, and if that is the only rules that we get for the Gurkhas that are upcoming, then the Gurkhas will lose every single time to the IGA paras. The IGA paras are a lot powerful because they have fanatic. The Gurkhas are way more likely to connect, because they're easier to get to connect. But against a peer unit like the IGA, they're going to lose 50% of the time, and the IGA will stay, so they can't lose. The IGA will win every single time. For me, the IGA paras are a lot more powerful than the Gurkhas. And you can get an extra attack with the Japanese samurai sword. That gives you extra attack. That gives you on your. That's pretty nice. So, yeah, and you can pull the cheese if you want to. Have points and spray down units. We'll see what the US will have available, but now,
all right.
Thank you.
I trust you had as much fun listening to Bo's choices as I had interviewing him. If you'd like to participate in a future game of Frontline Choices, please do leave a comment below. I'll be right at you. In the meantime, happy gaming!